Hello, I'm Rhonda and welcome back to my channel. Here, I share hypnotic and inspiring stories designed to help you unwind, find peace, and reconnect with yourself. Whether you're preparing for a restful night or looking for a serene escape from the day's hustle, these calming narratives will gently guide you to a place of reflection and inner calm. Subscribe now and step into a world of tranquility where each story serves as a gentle reminder of the magic and beauty that already resides in you. Take a small deep breath in and let it out slowly. As you listen to the sound of my voice, allow yourself to sink into a place of calm and quiet. Feel the weight of your body settle as if every muscle is loosening and melting into relaxation. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on a gentle stream, moving slowly and effortlessly. Notice how easy it becomes to let go, to simply be here, now, where nothing else matters but the sound of my voice and the feeling of peace washing over you. Imagine a soft, warm light surrounding you, soothing every part of your mind and body, guiding you deeper and deeper into comfort. As the world around you fades, your mind becomes more and more willing to follow the journey I'm about to take you on. Let your thoughts rest, knowing they'll be safe here, and allow your imagination to flow as easily as a river winding through the hills. Now, let yourself drift as I tell you a story. The transformation to courage. There had always been a quiet pull inside Clara, a gentle yet persistent whisper that called her towards something more. A life of adventure, of discovery, a step beyond the safe and the known. It spoke to her in the hush of twilight, in the rustling of the trees when the winds passed through, in the golden edges of a horizon just out of reach. But just as surely as the whisper beckoned, there was another force that held her back, a silent hand on her shoulder, a weight in her chest, a shadow just beneath the surface of her thoughts, always whispering, "Wait, not yet, not you." She lived in that space between longing and hesitation, a quiet ache just behind her ribs, a dream hovering like mist behind a glass wall she could never quite break. And then one evening, as she sat alone in the hush of her living room, the ache was louder than usual. The whisper of adventure was rising, swelling inside her, pressing against the edges of her fear. She closed her eyes. She took a slow breath in, and as she exhaled, she decided tonight she would listen. She had read about something recently, a technique called Reimprinting, a way to journey backward through the corridors of the mind, to find the moment where fear first took root and gently, softly rewrite it. She let in her breath. The world around her faded, and the past began to surface. It came to her not as a thought, but as this feeling first, a tightening in her chest, a small sinking weight in her belly, a sense of standing just outside of something warm, something alive, something she desperately wanted to be a part of. She saw herself, much younger, just 7 years old, a little girl standing at the edge of a playground, her small hands gripping the hem of her jacket. She could hear the sounds of laughter, the rush of footsteps, the squeak of the swings cutting through the autumn air. She had wanted so badly to join them, to be in the center of it, to belong. And then a voice, "You're too quiet, you don't belong here." A single sentence spoke without thought, carried away by the wind as if it was nothing. But inside her young heart, it was not nothing. It was a stone, a heavy stone that sunk deep into the river of her being, settling into the dark places where it would remain, where it would whisper to her every time she had longed to step forward. She had felt the warmth drain from her cheeks that day. She had turned away, pretending it didn't matter, pretending she hadn't cared. And she carried that stone with her, through her childhood, through adolescence, through adulthood. It had shaped her in ways she had never realized, whispering to her each time she stood at the edge of something new, something unknown, something exhilarating. Don't go, it's safer here. Stay small, stay unseen. And tonight, she found it, the stone, the moment, the root, and now she would set it free. She stepped forward in her mind, moving through time, through memory, through the veil of years that had separated her from this moment. She saw her younger self standing there, small and uncertain, shoulders curled inward, eyes wide and filled with unspoken longing. And she, her adult self, steady and knowing, walked towards her. She knelt down, reaching out gently, so as not to startle the little girl who had been waiting so long to be seen. And in a soft voice she spoke. "I know this hurts," she whispered. "I know what it feels like to want to step forward, but to be afraid. But you are braver than you know. You have always belonged because you belong to yourself." The little girl blinked up at her, uncertain but listening. Clara reached out her hand. "Come with me," she said. And this time, when her younger self hesitated, she didn't turn away. She took the offered hand, and together they stepped forward, onto the playground, into the laughter, into the warmth. She imagined her younger self feeling it, not the rejection, not the fear, but the joy of being exactly where she wanted to be. The sound of her own laughter ringing through the air, the feeling of the wind rushing against her face as she ran, her feet light, her heart unburdened. And in that moment, something had shifted. The stone that had lived inside her, buried deep for years, began to dissolve, melting into the stream of time. The whisper of "you don't belong" faded, and in its place, a new whisper, "you are free." Clara opened her eyes. She was back in her living room, the present settling around her. But something inside her was different. The memory still existed, but it no longer held the power over her. It was no longer a wall between her and the life she had longed for. Instead, it was a bridge, one that had led her here, to this moment, where she could finally see the truth. She had always belonged. She had always been enough. She had always been free. And now, as she stepped forward into her life, she knew she would carry this knowing with her. Whenever fear whispered, she would remember. Whenever hesitation gripped her, she would remember. And every time she stood at the edge of something new, she would reach for her younger self's hand, smile, and whisper, "Come with me." And together they would walk forward, into adventure, into courage, into the life that had been waiting for her all along. From that night on, Clara began to take steps she had always feared. She had traveled to places she had only seen in books. Her feet finally walked the roads she had once dreamt of. She spoke her truth, her voice steady and unwavering, unburdened by the fear of how others would receive it. She danced when she wanted to, sang when the music moved her, laughed with the fullness of someone who knew she was exactly where she had meant to be. And in the quiet moments, when the wind whispered through the trees, when the golden horizon stretched before her like an open invitation, she would smile, grateful for the little girl who had once stood at the edge of the playground, grateful for the moment she had reached back in time and set them both free, and most of all, grateful for the whisper in her heart that had always, always known the way. Hypnotic Induction, the path to courage. Find a comfortable place to rest, a place where you can let go of the outside world and sink deeply into the warmth of this moment. Close your eyes gently and take a slow, deep breath in, feeling the air fill your lungs like a gentle wave rolling in from the shore. And now exhale, allowing all the tension to melt away into your breath, as if releasing a whisper into the quiet night air. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to control. Simply allow yourself to drift deeper and deeper into a space of stillness, a space of knowing, a space where time slows, where the edges of thought soften, where the past and present merge like ripples across a calm, endless sea. And as you breathe, you begin to feel a gentle pull within you, a soft and familiar whisper, calling you towards something you have always known, yet perhaps forgotten. A place inside you where courage has always lived. The playground of the mind. Imagine now that you are walking along a quiet path, the earth firm beneath your feet, the air rich with the scent of autumn leaves and distant laughter. Each step feels lighter than the last, each breath drawing you deeper into the heart of this journey. And ahead you see it, a playground, bathed in golden light, as if caught between time and memory. This is a place you have been before. This is where a part of you still waits. A younger version of yourself, standing at the edge, watching, longing, hesitating. You see her now. Feel her presence. She is small, yet strong. She is uncertain, yet filled with possibility. And as you move closer, she notices you. Her eyes meeting yours with curiosity, with wonder, with a question unspoken but deeply felt. And now, you kneel before her, looking into her eyes, seeing the quiet strength she does not yet recognize in herself. And in the softest voice, the voice of deep knowing, you speak to her. You belong. Two simple words, and yet, as they settle into the space between you, something shifts. A ripple moves through time. She looks at you wide-eyed, as if hearing something she has waited her whole life to hear. You extend your hand to her, steady, open, warm. And in this moment, She does something she has never done before. She reaches out, and as her small fingers press into your palm, a warmth between you spreads. A golden light, a quiet strength, a knowing beyond words. Together you step forward, onto the playground, into the laughter, into the life that was always meant to be yours. And as you take a step together, the path softens, the fear dissolves, and in its place, a new whisper rises. I am free. And now, as this moment settles within you, as this deep truth takes root in your being, know that whenever you need to, you can return to this place. You can take her hand once more. You can remind her. You can remind yourself that courage has always lived within you, that you have always belonged, and that you are free. And as you breathe deeply now, feeling the warmth of this knowing settle into every part of you, begin to bring your awareness back to the present. Wiggle your fingers, your toes, feeling the energy of this transformation anchoring you into your body. Take one more deep breath in, and as you exhale, allow a gentle smile touch your lips, knowing that something within you has shifted. And when you're ready, open your eyes and welcome back. Breaking it down, the meaning of the story. The story carries several deep and transformative meanings, which can be broken down into key themes. Number 1, the conflict, the battle between desire and fear. Clara feels the pull towards adventure and new experiences, but something inside her keeps holding her back. This represents the inner conflict we all face, the desire to grow versus the fear of stepping outside our comfort zone. Fear is not always logical. It is often rooted in something much deeper than the present moment. Number 2, the root of fear, a childhood memory. Through the technique of reimprinting, Clara uncovers a memory from childhood, a moment when she felt rejected, small, and unwelcome. The phrase, "You're too quiet, you don't belong here," planted a seed of self-doubt and hesitation, which followed her into adulthood. Many of our deepest fears are not about what is happening now, but about something that happened a long time ago, an experience that shaped how we see ourselves. The power of rewriting the past. Instead of being trapped by the memory, Clara returns to it consciously and changes how it unfolds. By stepping into the scene as her adult self, she confronts, reassures, and supports her younger self. This represents a powerful truth. We cannot change what happened, but we can change what it means to us. Healing comes not from erasing the past, but seeing it in a new way. Number 4, self-acceptance, claiming her own belonging. Clara realizes she doesn't need anybody else's permission to belong. Her fear was never about others accepting her. It was about her accepting herself. She leads her younger self onto the playground, symbolizing her choice to step into, rather than staying away on the sidelines. Number 5, the transformation, moving beyond fear. When she wakes from the reimprinting process, she feels lighter, because a memory no longer holds the power over her. She begins to take real steps forward in her life, proving that transformation is not just internal, but is also lived through action. Whenever fear arises again, she reminds herself of a new memory, the version where she is courageous, whole, and free. Number 6, the playground as a metaphor of life. The playground represents the world of experiences that she longed to be a part of. As children, we naturally want to explore, to connect, to play. But when we experience rejection or fear, we learn to hold back. Returning to the playground symbolizes returning to life with a sense of belonging and confidence. Number 7, the universal truth. Courage was always within. Clara's journey mirrors the experiences of so many people who struggle with fear, self-doubt, or the feeling of not enough. The core message is this: you are always enough. You belong wherever you choose to stand. You do not need permission to step forward. Courage is not the absence of fear, but is the willingness to move forward in spite of it. And thank you for listening, and I hope you've been well. Until next time.